Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on global talent shows. We have our world famous speaker, Annie. Annie, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you today, Sharif?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. You know that you are one of the talented who joined today's session. This is very special episode. We call it Global Talent Shows and we have another 1450 episodes. So my first question for you, what defining moment in your life shape who you are today?
Oh, that is a big question. I'm not sure if I can bring it down to one particular thing. And maybe that is exactly the defining characteristics about me is that I have never allowed any specific sort of predefined uh, specifications or job title or education or belief set. I have not ever let one thing define me. And what I have ended up with, I believe, in my career is that I've been able to blend many different parts of the different types of backgrounds and worlds that I've been exploring. And out of that, I feel like I've been able to kind of stitch together a fairly unique perception of the world, of what's possible, and also what type of work is needed and what we need in the future.
Excellent. Adi, you have an experience to work in different tech corporations. If you share with our audience, maybe we have a lot of youth in our communities. They may
Yeah.
be inspired by your experience and your exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I did not land in this industry from a very traditional way. I know that many people think, "Oh, I need to go into coding. I need to, I need to be picked up by MIT or Stanford. I need to get a CS degree or something like that." And I think that and that's still very valid. And those type of skills are very important. I think that now, specifically, as we're going into a more AI-driven future, I think that there's a plethora of backgrounds that are going to, and combination of tools that are going to be important. So I actually came from a social science background. I then went into strategic foresight, which is all about sort of predicting the future, or not predicting the future, but understanding future scenarios, understanding how businesses can set themselves up for success in changing environments, not when conditions actually change on the outside, and that you can be responsive to that. I realized very quickly, though, that in order to be able to do that, you need more than just the theoretical framework about how to think about the future. You actually need a lot of data. So I actually went into data science that way. So I started with the social sciences, and then I moved into data analytics and learned how to kind of build machine learning models and data mining, etc. Never at any super high level. But this is kind of how I found myself exploring deeper and deeper into the tech industry, and ending up with operational management in some of the bigger tech platforms that we're using today. And the reason that I mention that is because I can't count how many times those type of experiences that led me, that they were untraditional and not expected for my education, for the, to put it this way, for the positions that I've held, that did not come from traditional KPIs. That didn't come from the traditional OKRs and those defined metrics that you typically see in the tech industry. Some of them were the ability to actually see transformational change a little bit before they happen. So my advice will be to really don't try to feel like you need to fit a specific mold. Try to look at all of the things that you can kind of stitch together, where you feel like this gives you a unique, unreplaceable background, where you come in and you can fix a problem that nobody else can solve and no AI can ever solve.
Excellent. My next question for you, if you could change one thing about your industry, what it would it be and why? Like this tech industry.
Oh, very interesting. I think that my industry, which is mostly tech platforms, these type of engines that you put in your intent, whether that is a search engine or large language model or social medium, these are starting to blend together. So it's not like we used to tend to think of a search engine as a search engine. Like it's got that little box and then you get the blue links, right? And you used to have social media, which was only about connecting with the people you know. Then you had e-commerce, where everything you do there is just buying things. Um, these type of flat platforms are starting to become more sort of umbrella-like, where we want to kind of support the user journey throughout the process, and that can shift. So the user intent can shift from maybe starting with wanting to connect with their friends, and then they want to search something, and then the end product might be that they want to buy something, right? So that is a change that I think a lot of people will see more and more of. Again, it is very important, especially in technology where things are changing so quickly, that you don't get married to a specific product, but an idea and a need, a use case. And this, I can't stress enough this about use cases and understanding what is it that the user, the end user, what is it that they really want? Because right now there's a lot of focus on, let's just put AI in front of it. We hear about AI first. Like we always need to, we start with the technology and then we forget about what is it that the user really wants. It actually turns out that there are a lot of users don't really want to see a lot of AI generated content. A lot of them might want to have access to it, but that might not be the end goal. And I think it's very important for us to stop and think right now that what is it that we really want? And I think that traditionally the tech industry has been really, really good at adjusting to the user need and not look so much like at the tools that drive them to be there. And now I think it's very time for us to again to start regrouping and thinking about that.
Excellent. My next question for you, because our tech industry definitely very big, it has a lot of challenge and a lot of stress. My next question for you: how do you stay motivated when challenges seems overwhelming? Or
Oh
how
wow,
you manage it?
I love that question. And I'm going to approach it from two different angles. I do think that motivation always starts with like some kind of curiosity, some kind of emotion. There's something that is triggering for you. It might be something that you feel a little bit upset about. It might be something that you want to learn more about. It might be something you have a problem you really want to solve. And so in order to the initial motivations kind of starts that. And you kind of need that in order to get started learning something new. So for me, what that was coming from a very heavily academic, theoretically driven framework, which is the social sciences and the strategic foresight, which is very good at theoretical frameworks, maybe not so good when it comes to data processing. And I felt all of that theory in this world isn't going to matter if we don't know how to really utilize, first get the data and then really implement it and understand it. Because what is a theory good for if you can't prove it, right? So for me, that was my initial type of motivation. And I can tell you very quickly when I got into this sort of more heavy program, it was very new to me because I came from a statistics background, but I didn't come from a um, the higher math background. I didn't have a lot of calculus training. And so for me to go into a very quantitative field at first was very intimidating. At that point, my motivation, the only way I could have stayed in it was to actually just perseverance. At some point, this is a trick. It's like after that initial motivation goes down, and this is why we have a lot of people who start new things and then they get demotivated. What keeps you going is actually self-discipline. It's not motivation. At some point, that motivation is going to feel like it stops. It's not actually going to stop. It's going to take a little pause because things are getting hard. Now it's just perseverance and self-discipline. And then what you're going to see is that that motivation will come back. But it's going to come back in portions. It's going to come back every time you feel like you made like a quantum leap, and you feel like each time you were struggling with a problem, and it was difficult, and you hit the wall, and you hit the wall, and you hit the wall. Then suddenly one day you get it, and you feel like you kind of leveled up a little bit. That's where you're going to see a little bit of that motivation coming back, and that's the sustainable motivation. So I think a lot of people right now, because we have been mired in a world where everything is instant gratification, And if we don't see the products of it right away, then we give up. But that's the trick. You need to just stick it out. You need to give yourself a chance to succeed. And success takes time.
Excellent. My next question for you, I think already audience like your comments. I think Dan agree with you, and he may observe our show. Thank you. My next question for you, as our global talent shows, in Asia Pacific we have huge young and talented people.
Yeah.
So my question for you: what one lesson you wish every young person could learn early in their life?
Mm. Always stay curious. Always test assumptions. Just because somebody tells you something is this is the way it is. And I know that in our regular education system, that's very often how it is. It's about rote learning, it's about learning the rules. But the problem, and especially now, because we're starting to automate a lot of those type of rote roles, like if somebody has thought that thought before you and you just passively adopt that thought, you're not going to stand apart from everybody else. You need to kind of stay one step ahead. And the way you do that is to understand their assumptions, but you are able to actually question it. And then once you question those assumptions, you might find there are alternative interpretations. There are alternative ways to see a problem. So you can actually use, like, there's been a lot of talk about use of chatbots, like these advanced chatbots in school, and how it's going to ruin the learning experience because now everybody's like, having their LLMs write their essays for them. And then obviously that is not the right use you're not going to learn how to write an essay if you have ChatGPT do it for you, right? But one use case that is really good is to use it Socratically. I call it to use chatbots Socratically, to kind of have it inspire you to ask questions, have it sort of like, if you heard about the 5 whys, if you ask something and then it gives you an answer and you keep asking, you keep probing, but why? So if you're that person that can ask a lot of good questions, you're actually going to go much further. And I guess I'm going to say one more thing too, and it's instrumental empathy. And I don't mean that by saying that, personal empathy, like you need to have empathy with other people. You need to care about other people and where they are in their life journey. And, the people you meet on the way down are the people that are just going to help you way up, these kind of things. But it's also, there's one other thing too. If you're going to work globally and across different generations, across different regions, across, cross-functionally with people who have very different type of backgrounds, you have to learn to see the world from their perspective, or at least try, because you're not going to be able to solve the problem. That's the thing. It's like if we insist on only seeing things our way, we're not going to be able to even agree. We're not going to have like interconsent, or what is it called, intersubjective consensus about what things are. And unfortunately, that's kind of where a lot of our world is going these days, is that everybody's so engulfed in their own bubble that they can't even see what the objective reality on the ground is. So those are maybe the things that I think are important.
Excellent. My next question for you: what do you see yourself and the world 5 years from now?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think at the moment, again, being a futurist, I tend to not want to predict because there are too many variables to keep track of. So there's so many things that can come in and influence that future. I have a positive future and I have a negative future. Like I have a dystopian future that I hope is not going to happen, and then I have a future that I hope is going to happen. And again, what happens is actually up to us and what we do. Currently, we have huge systemic challenges in this world, economically, environmentally, technologically. There's a lot of problems that we have to get ahead of. Interestingly, right now we have the tools. We actually have the finances. We have enough, educated people. There's a lot of things that can go well if we play our cards right. We can leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning the right way, which is, interestingly, a lot of the problems that we're struggling with today, they actually don't take a lot of compute. They actually don't take a lot of GPU. There's some of the machine learning models that can fix a lot of issues today can be done on a desktop computer. You don't need to have these big, data clusters or GPU clusters around the world. Interestingly, a lot of the AI products that we're getting today is actually, or that requires a lot of data center capacity, that it requires a lot of energy, that is pretty much like adding to our problems instead of taking problems away. Are the same technologies are creating deep fakes because and basically misinformation, which might be fun at the moment. It might be fun to create a meme, but then somebody latches onto it and they think that this is reality. And before you know it, you kind of, you've created a reality where people don't even trust what they see. Unfortunately, there's a future where that could be, there's a dystopian future where that could be kind of where the future of AI is going, where we're spending a lot of data center capacity. We're building all these new data centers. We're putting in all of the energy. We're sucking up all the water to cool the data centers so that people can create products that are not really helping humanity. So that's our choice at the moment. We can use technology the good way, or we could use technology the bad way. And the choice really is ours. So I think that the next 5 years is going to be, those are going to be critical for deciding where we want to be.
Excellent, excellent session. I request all of our audience, please share our content as much as possible with the government agency, corporation, and academia. And definitely our show going to publish through Good News USA and through Pot TV USA. So thank you, Annie, for joining today's session. I want to invite you in our board of advisory of World Talent Economic Forum. You know that we are working around Asia Pacific, and we are also part of this Texas Austin St. Edward University. We are developing climate leadership programs with Japan, with South Asia, and we develop Center of Excellence. I'm sure your experience is priceless, and with your talent, with your experience, you can change human lives. Thank you, Annie, for joining today's session. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
Thank you so much for all the great questions and for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.